Get out of this bus!
I paid for my ticket, sir.
I don't care! Get out!
Please, no!
What would you do if a man in uniform calmly crushed your hand in a closing door, looked you in the eye, and said, "Get off my bus," not because you broke any rule, but because of the color of your skin? And what if that quiet moment, caught on a shaking phone camera, ended his job, his reputation, and everything he thought made him untouchable? Before we continue, welcome to Silent Echo Stories. If stories like this matter to you, support the channel, like, and let us know where you're watching from. These stories travel farther than we think. Her name was Maya Thompson. She was 32, a payroll supervisor at a hospital, not famous, not rich, just steady, responsible, and tired like everyone else on a weekday evening. She had grown up riding buses. Her mother rode buses. Her grandmother rode buses. Public transport was normal life, not something she ever thought could become a nightmare. That day, she left work late. The hospital had been short-staffed. Patients were upset. Phones kept ringing. By the time she clocked out, her feet hurt and her head was heavy. All she wanted was to sit down, scroll her phone, and get home. She wore a blue jacket, black slacks, and flats. Her hair was pulled back. She looked like any other office worker heading home. Quiet, polite, invisible. Or so she thought. The bus driver's name was Frank Miller, 58 years old, 20 years on the job. He believed the bus was his space, his rules, his control. Other drivers followed schedules. Frank followed his own feelings. He had a short temper and a long memory for faces he didn't like. He talked about problem riders the way some people talk about pests. And to him, certain faces always meant trouble. That evening, when Maya stepped onto the bus and paid her fare, Frank noticed her right away. Not because she did anything wrong, but because, in his mind, she didn't belong there. The bus was crowded but not full. The air smelled like sweat and engine heat. People stood holding rails. A few seats were open. Maya sat near the middle and opened her phone. 2 stops later, Frank's voice came through the speaker. "Ma'am in the blue jacket, you need to move." She looked around. No one else stood up. She said, "Move where?" His reply was sharp. "Off the bus, now." People turned. A few phones came up. Maya stood slowly. "Is there a problem?" Frank stood from his seat. Big chest, red face. "You're causing trouble. I don't need your attitude." She said, "I just got on. I haven't said anything." He walked closer, lowered his voice. "You people always bring problems." The bus went quiet. Maya felt her chest tighten. "Did you just say you people?" Frank didn't deny it. "Get off my bus." She took out her phone and started recording. "Say it again." His face went cold. Not angry, controlled. He opened the front door. "Out," she said. "I paid. I'm not doing anything wrong." He shut the bus down. "We're not moving until she's gone." Passengers protested. "Man, that's wrong. Let her ride." "This is racist." Frank ignored them. He grabbed Maya's arm and pulled her forward. "Do not touch me," she said, her voice shaking. She stepped down, still filming. As she held the rail, the doors closed on her hand. Pain shot up her arm, and Frank's voice, calm and flat, said, "Get off my bus." The doors reopened. The bus pulled away. Maya was left on the sidewalk, shaking, staring at the taillights. That video didn't stay small. By morning, it was everywhere. Local news, national news, social media, millions of views. But what people didn't know at first was this. Maya's sister was a civil rights attorney. Her cousin worked in digital forensics. And her best friend from college was now a producer at a news station. Maya wasn't powerful in the loud way, but she was connected and calm and patient. When reporters asked if she wanted to let it go, she said one sentence, "No. I want the truth on record." That was when the second video surfaced, a passenger's angle. Clear sound. "You people always bring problems. That's racist. I don't care." Now, it wasn't just her word, it was his voice. The bus company placed Frank on leave. Then more complaints came in. A woman said he once told her to sit where you belong. A man said Frank skipped stops in black neighborhoods at night. Another driver said he had reported Frank years ago. Patterns formed. Lawyers got involved. Maya filed a lawsuit for assault, discrimination, and emotional harm. Frank's social media was found, old posts, comments about those areas, jokes about crime and certain people. Nothing illegal, but everything clear. The company fired him. In court, he said he felt threatened. He said he was misunderstood. The judge played the video. The courtroom heard the calm voice, the closing door, the words, "Get off my bus." The case settled. The company paid. The city ordered new training. Frank lost his job, his pension, and his chance to ever drive again. He went from being in control of a crowded bus to being alone, watching his name become a warning. Maya still rides the bus. Sometimes her hands shake when the doors close. Sometimes she watches the driver's face too closely. But she says something important now. He thought I was small. He thought I was alone. He thought no one would care. She pauses. That's what made him dangerous. And that's what made him wrong. The world didn't change in one day. But one quiet woman, one phone, and one calm voice revealed how power can hide in plain sight, and how fast it can fall when the truth is seen. Weeks later, Maya had to face the moment again in a courtroom. The bus company tried to settle quietly at first. They offered money, they offered an apology letter, they offered therapy sessions. They hoped the story would fade. Maya said no. She wanted the truth on record. So she sat in a small courtroom with wooden walls and bright lights. The video played on a large screen. The sound filled the room, the calm voice, the closing door. Get off my bus. Frank sat at the defense table. No uniform, no power, just a man in a cheap suit, hands folded, eyes fixed on the floor. When the judge asked him to speak, he stood slowly. He said he felt pressured. He said he misread the situation. He said he never meant it that way. Maya watched him without blinking. When it was her turn, she stood and spoke in a steady voice. She talked about the pain in her hand, the fear in her chest, the way the door closed like a final answer, the way his voice had been so calm as if her dignity meant nothing. She said, I did nothing wrong. I paid. I followed every rule. And still, I was told I did not belong. The courtroom was silent. The judge ruled in her favor. The settlement was larger than the company expected. The city ordered new cameras on all buses, new training, new complaint systems, new rules about when a driver could remove a passenger. Frank's record followed him. He could not drive for the city again. He could not work in public transport. His name came up in every background check. The man who once controlled a bus full of people now struggled to find work at all. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. They asked Maya how she felt. She said, I feel tired, but I also feel heard. At home that night, she sat by her window and watched buses pass by. Their lights moved through the dark like slow ships. She thought about her mother, her grandmother, all the quiet rides they had taken, all the times they had stayed silent to avoid trouble. She knew one video did not fix everything, but it proved something. It proved that calm cruelty is still cruelty. It proved that uniforms do not erase bias. It proved that a phone and a shaking hand can become a witness. And it proved that even when power speaks softly, the truth can still be louder. Maya picked up her phone and saved the video in a folder labeled Evidence. Not for revenge, for memory. Because sometimes history is not written in books. Sometimes it is recorded on a bus at dusk when a door closes and a voice says something it should never say, and the world finally listens. If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Support Silent Echo Stories by liking this video, sharing it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribing so you never miss another powerful true-to-life story. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. We love seeing how far Silent Echo Stories reaches around the world.